Hello, and welcome to
Papi Approved Movies.
My name is Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
In our podcast, we'll review and critique my favorite PG-13 movies.
Movies that I wasn't allowed to watch until I turned 13.
Every other week, Natalie and I will watch a new PG-13 movie.
And I'll see if Papi's movies live up to the hype.
Which, of course, they will.
Today we're going to be watching La La Land.
Before we begin, there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie and don't want it to be spoiled,
Press pause and come back when you're finished. Now, Papi, tell me the deets on this movie.
Hello, Natalie.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah. We're watching our second movie of our romance month of February. Do you feel the love in the air?
No.
No? Okay. La La Land came out in 2016 with a runtime of 2 hours and 8 minutes. It's streaming on Hulu. It was written and directed by Damien Chazelle. Main stars are Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, and Rosemary DeWitt. Fun facts, I really love the music in this movie, but I remember the first time I watched the movie, I played a game called Candy Crush, and the music in the Candy Crush game and his jazz song, they sounded like really similar to each other. Because I thought, like, this is amazing jazz music, it's so beautiful. And then I hear it in Candy Crush and I was like, I guess it's not that fancy.
Or you just realized that you weren't listening to it.
Maybe. So what did you think of the movie?
It was good.
That's all you got?
I liked it.
All right. And that's Papi Approved Movies. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next month. What do you give it?
4.5 stars.
4.5. You really did like it. Can't wait to hear why you liked it so much. I'm excited to find out. Maybe we'll figure it out during the recap.
Why don't we get into the recap?
Okay. Winter. The movie begins in bumper-to-bumper traffic in LA. The drivers begin to sing and dance, and it becomes a huge theatrical number on the freeway.
I don't think it's safe because they had a band at the back of a truck. I don't think that's safe.
Well, I think they probably got the band out. They probably weren't there in the beginning.
They were. They opened the back of the truck and they started playing.
The band was ready to go. Maybe they're just
unsafe.
That's true. Then a guy named Sebastian honks his horn at a girl named Mia. She flips him off as he speeds away. When I first watched this movie, I was like, I'm done. Delete. I gotta go. I'm not trying to watch theatrical numbers. Do you like that? Do you like that kind of thing where everybody breaks into song and dance?
No. I usually dislike most musical.
But not this one. 4.5 stars.
There was not very much singing to get the story along.
Yeah, the singing was like pauses.
Yeah, they were singing because they were being musical. It wasn't like they were singing to tell the story.
Not the first part. The first part had nothing to do with anything. They just sang and danced for nothing.
Yeah, but it's not like they're moving the story along. Like, it's not like that's what's...
It's not the tool that they use to get the story going. Is that what you're trying to say?
It's not what I mean.
What do you mean then?
It's not using it to write the story. It's using it as a part of the story. But it's not writing the story.
Got it. First, we follow Mia from the traffic scene to her job. She works in a coffee shop on a movie studio lot. She leaves early for an audition. And at the audition, she's crushing it, but gets interrupted mid-scene. When she begins to start again, the director dismisses her and says he's seen enough. That's kind of sad, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's like that, the whole auditioning period.
I bet so. They have to spend so much time on it. You would have to, if someone's like really bad, you would just kick them out immediately. You wouldn't have them waste your time.
There's a scene in one of the auditions, I don't know which one. The guy was looking at a picture of someone else. So I wonder if they already have an idea who they want. And all this is just, it's all kind of a waste of time. Mia gets home disheartened, and her roommates try to cheer her up. They invite her to a Hollywood party. She eventually agrees and goes. At the party, she's out of place and leaves early. She walks home and hears a pretty song coming out of a restaurant. She goes inside, and is surprised to see Sebastian, the horn-honking jerk from earlier, playing the piano.
I didn't remember that he honked the horn at her until the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's him. That's how they fell in love. Fate.
I thought it was a useless piece of the story.
But it wasn't. It was like the first moment they met, in a way. Although he sped by so quick, like, how did she see him? Now we follow Sebastian from the traffic scene. He gets home and his sister Laura gives him a hard time. She wants to set him up with a girl and he says no. He says that it interferes with his dream of opening a jazz club. He would already had his dream come true if he hadn't been scammed. She leaves and he starts playing jazz on his piano. Seb goes to work as a piano man at a restaurant. Bill, his boss, warns him that he's only supposed to play Christmas music. Seb gets bored and starts playing his jazz song. That's when Mia came in from before. Bill fires Seb for insubordination. Mia comes over to Seb and he rudely pushes past her.
I don't understand. Why would they fire him just because he played a song that was a higher skill level than what they were paying for?
Well, because he was told not to. I mean, I guess this isn't the first time he's done it because he got warned right before he started his shift.
I don't see why it's such a big deal.
Maybe like on the restaurant it said, we're playing Christmas music, come on out. And then he starts playing jazz.
But then he goes back to the Christmas music. Then it's only one song.
Yeah.
Why is one song such a big deal? Especially if he played it well. If he was like trying a new song and he kept like messing up and redoing a part, obviously that would be horrible. But he played the whole song through. It's not like he was not like just going random.
I don't know. I guess if you don't follow your boss's directions, you should get fired. So, springtime. Next, we see Mia in an audition montage. Then she goes to another party. There she sees Seb playing the piano in a corny band. She starts teasing him. Later, he goes to apologize and they begin flirting. He walks her to her car and they really connect. They have a song and dance and they go their separate ways. That was kind of a nice scene.
It's funny. They both tap dance throughout the movie, but they never talk about how either of them liked tap or dance.
Yeah, like dancing was a part of the movie, but they never talked about dancing in itself.
Yeah, like one was an actor, one was a musician. It would make sense that they like sing together, but like, why were they tapping? And then there was like, it was never brought up.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. I thought they would have said something like, oh, like I like dance or something. I don't really know.
Dancing goes hand in hand with music, though. You think all musicians know how to dance?
I don't think so.
Like, if you have that rhythm, then you should be able to be a good dancer.
I don't think so. I think people can be very coordinated at one thing and be super clumsy in the other.
That's what they call a triple threat. When you're an actor, if you can act, sing, and dance, you're like a triple threat. The next day, Seb goes to see Mia at the coffee shop.
Why would most actors need a dance anyways?
Because a lot of the movies in the beginning were musicals.
But not anymore.
Yeah, but that makes you a triple threat. Now you're just a single threat. If you can sing, dance, and act, you're gold.
I don't think so.
The next day, Seb goes to see Mia at the coffee shop she works at. They go on a walk and talk about their hopes and dreams. She tells him about her aunt, who was her inspiration for being an actress. Mia also tells him that she used to write her own plays when she was little. Seb tells her that he wants to open a jazz club. Then she tells him that she hates jazz. He gets offended and takes her to a jazz club to educate her on the joys of jazz. They make a date to watch a movie later and go their separate ways. You know, I hate that. You don't love something, let me make you don't get it. Let me help you understand what it is, this thing.
It's very mansplaining.
And you're loving. Mansplaining, but it's everybody. I think women do the same thing.
I know.
Like, you don't like this? Watch, you'll like it. I'll show you.
It's like they don't understand that some people just don't have similar likes.
Yeah. No, yeah, 100%.
To think that everyone has to like the same thing, it's wrong. It's like you can like different things.
Do you think that people don't like jazz because they don't know what that jazz is more than just elevator music?
No, I think that they are more interested in like lyrics and stuff. Yeah, some people don't find the value in just straight up music.
Well, there's jazz music with lyrics.
I know, but like they want electronic.
Like fake instruments?
Yeah. Like we talked about, not many pop songs have
real live instruments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Like a lot of people maybe are going away from the real life bands and things like that.
I don't get it. Me personally, I like it to my top Spotify artist is under the category of jazz. So
you're a jazz lover, and there's a lot of words in their songs.
yeah.
And your favorite Spotify listener or person is?
Leve.
Leve. Okay. Mia goes on an acting callback. The casting directors don't even look at her. She gets dismissed after one line.
Why would they call her back?
Yeah. Maybe they just wanted to see her face again?
Just to crush her dream?
Like if it was a regular audition and he like, oh, get out, I don't want you. I mean, he didn't like the way she looked. But they decided to call her back to do it again. Yeah, it was a little bit different. It didn't make sense that they would call her out at all.
I do think the line she gave wasn't very good. And I was like, at first I thought like, oh, she just did it so horribly. They're like, okay, buddy, just leave. Yeah. But like, they weren't really looking at her. They weren't giving her any attention in the first place.
Then why call her back at all? Because if you dismissed her once already, you sent her away one time, why would you call her to do it again and not pay attention to her? Because you're
wasting everyone's time.
Yeah, even your own.
It's not just her time. Like, you're making her come in. You're wasting a few minutes if she actually was allowed to do it. But in this case, like probably 30 seconds. And then you're just going to send her on her way.
Yeah. She goes home sad and her boyfriend Greg is there. She has forgotten she has a double date that night.
First of all, she's totally cheating on poor Greg.
Yes. 100%.
And I hate the fact that this happens a lot in movies. I don't hate that part. Well, I kind of do. Because you shouldn't have, like, a heroine being, like, a cheating person.
Right.
But, like, I guess for the whole, like, romance novel thing. But the fact that they always try to make the love interest seem like a horrible person. When, like, Greg is literally taking out on a nice fancy dinner and is, like, treating her to different things.
Well, how do they make him look bad?
They made him be like on calls all the time, and then they made him like, she's like, oh dang Greg, and then like her roommates are like, ugh Greg, like you're still dating that guy, like what's wrong with Greg? I'm team Greg. He doesn't seem like a bad guy at all.
Mia and Greg meet another couple at the dinner. Meanwhile, Seb waits for Mia outside the theater. Mia is conflicted at dinner and eventually walks out on Greg. She goes to the movie theater and finds Seb. They start watching the movie. They're about to hold hands when the movie breaks down.
This is also, like, not old-timey. And you should have gotten what's-his-name's number a week ago. And so you could have texted him and be like, hey, I'm running late. Can we catch a later showing?
Yeah. They have cell phones.
Yeah.
Because
she gets callbacks and all this stuff.
At the end, he's on the phone, too. Yeah, that's a good point. But they never exchanged numbers.
Why not?
Why? They were going to meet.
Yeah, well, there's always complications in life. You should expect to not be able to wander off to some guy that you're having an affair with in a movie theater at some random time.
Well, it would have been like, I can't make it tonight. I'm with my boyfriend. Can we meet some other time?
Yeah, but she could have been like, oh, something came up. Like, can we all be like a little late?
Yeah.
Like, can we get the next showing?
So they finish the movie. They don't actually finish the movie. The movie breaks down. Then they leave to go to the Griffith Observatory, the same place that the actors in the movie went to. Inside, they begin to sing, dance, fly, and eventually they kiss. But what, is that open till like midnight, 2 a.m? Because the movie starts at 10.
There's no one in there. I think they broke it.
They might have broken. Summer. Me and Seb are a couple now. She's writing her own play and Seb is doing gigs for money. They sit at a bar after a set, and Keith, an old friend of Seb, asks him to join his new group, and Seb says no. Who's Keith?
John Legend.
John Legend. You're a big fan of John Legend, right?
He was on The Voice. I like The Voice. Then he left.
Yeah, he's not on it anymore.
Which, why? What is he doing? That's so important. He can't be on The Voice.
He's like making movies. He's making this movie right here.
That's 2016? Yeah, right, buddy.
Seb reads Mia's finished script and loves it. It's a one-woman play. She asks him about Keith and tells her his only dream is to open up a jazz club. Mia gets a call from her mother. Her mother is worried that Seb doesn't have his life together. Seb overhears the conversation and decides to join Keith's band, even though it isn't his style.
I don't know why he didn't go find something more his speed. Like, he was gonna go join a band. Like, you're talking about, like, oh, I want stability. I want to have a job. Let me join a band that's just starting up. Yeah, that's such a stable job.
No, he didn't want that. He wanted money to open his club.
I know, but, like, the whole point was that her mom was like, is he even doing anything?
I think it's always about money. Like, how are you guys living? You're not working because she's making her own play. He's not really working steady jobs. So I was like, she's just worried. Where are you guys going to get the money? I bet you the mom was helping pay rent. Because how does she have an apartment if she doesn't even work?
And I don't see why. Like, why she needed to quit that job. She could have just worked less shifts.
Yeah, or just work late into the night to do her work, right?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like he needed to take off.
Or she could have just not been there every single day of the week. Like, she could be there half the week and then write her movie the other half of the week.
Yeah. We see a montage of Seb touring with the band and Mia preparing to put on her play. They're so busy they start to drift apart. That night, Seb comes home to surprise her with dinner. They get into an argument. She wants him to remember his dream of opening a nightclub. And he says he has to grow up. He's mean to her, and then she leaves. This argument was really dumb. Like, why is she so upset that he's working? Like, he's making money for both of them. She knows this is not what he wants to do. But he's providing for the family. He's doing what he has to do.
Because he's leaving her for years?
Yeah, but, like, that's his job.
I know, but she never said she wanted that. He just brought that on himself because he overheard. She never said, like...
No. Yeah, it's not her fault he took the job.
Yeah, but that's never what she wanted. She liked how things were, and then he, like, had to go and leave her, like, majority of the year.
Yeah. I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, that's his job. He's a musician. Did she really think he was going to open up a nightclub? Like, did she really believe that was the dream without him getting a real job for a while? Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like she wanted to fight.
I don't understand why. I know he's a musician, but why couldn't he have gotten a coffee shop job? Like, why did it have to be some sort of gig? Like, he has a piano at home. He can still play every single day.
Well, I bet you he made as much as she made at a coffee shop. You know, his gigs probably paid him just enough to get by. They are surviving. They have an apartment, but I don't know if they're making their dreams come true.
I don't see why he needs to go enjoy a band.
Money. I think money tells you everything.
He could have gotten another job. He didn't need to go join some band that he doesn't like with some guy he doesn't like for the approval of someone's mom and not even the person you're dating.
And money. And there's also money involved.
He could have gotten money at any other job.
Not the same. He got a lot of money. Eventually we find out that he made enough money to open his own club. This was a step in his direction to make his dream come true.
Meh.
On the day of Mia's play, Seb has to do a photo shoot at the same time. He decides to go to the photo shoot instead of the play.
I don't see why.
Yeah, the play begins and the theater's
empty. He doesn't
empty.
even care that much about this band.
No, he doesn't.
Because this is still at the beginning. Like, he hasn't...
No, they're pretty big, so that's why they had that argument before, because it was like, we're going on tour, we're doing really well.
I know, but she asked him, like, do you even like the music? And he's like, not really, but I'm making money. But, like, he didn't even care that much.
This is the part of the movie I disliked the most. Seb was her number one fan. Every time she said, I don't think he's like, you will make it. I don't think they want me. I'm like, they do want you. He was always like rooting. He was her biggest cheerleader. And then he doesn't go to the play. A one-woman play. It's only her debut and probably only show. There's like no one in the movie theater. But if he were there, he would have been cheering like crazy. And he decides to go to a photo shoot. I mean, he could have walked out on the band at that point and said, I can't make it, so I have to go to the show.
Yeah.
The whole thing was so dumb. They needed a breakup reason.
Or like, I think her mom I saw, and then all of her roommates.
Yeah, her roommates were there, and there were like maybe like 6. I think there were 10 people all together. So you had like 4 or 5. And eventually we realized that our casting director was there. Unless he was out of town in like Alaska, then he wouldn't have been able to make it. It would have been better like if it wasn't his fault. I guess they needed a reason for them to break up. and then to make it stick, but it didn't fall in line with his character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, the play begins and the theater's empty. Seb gets to the theater after the show has finished and apologizes. She's destroyed that no one came, especially him. She decides to leave show business and go home to her parents in Nevada. Seb is really sad and goes on with his life. He attends his sister's wedding, and at home, he gets a phone call from a casting director that wants to reach out to Mia. He goes to Nevada to find her. He tells her that she has a meeting the next day, and he'll wait for her and take her if she wants. The next day, Mia and Seb go back to LA. She goes to the audition, and the director tells her the movie takes place in Paris. Then she asks Mia to tell her a story as her audition. Mia talks about her aunt and breaks into song. Afterwards, she meets with Seb to talk about their relationship. He says, let's talk about it after he's finished with this tour, and she's back from Paris for the movie. Then they go their separate ways. Winter. And then here comes a little twist 5 years later. Mia goes to the coffee shop, but now she's the big star. She goes home to see her husband and her daughter, but her husband's not Seb. Did you see that coming?
Yeah. I thought they had broken up already.
Yeah, but remember, it kind of left it like, okay, we'll see how we go after I finish the tour and you finish the movie. I would say that him not coming to the play is enough to break up with him forever. So they had to do something, right?
Obviously, he's not reliable.
I don't even know if it's that, but like if he could miss that,
He clearly doesn't have his priorities straight.
Yeah, I think that's it. That night, Seb goes to work at his own jazz club. Mia and her husband are going to a show, but the traffic's so bad they decide to exit the freeway and go to dinner instead. Did you like that? It started with traffic and it ended with traffic? Did you get... No, okay. As they walk on the street, the couple hear music and decide to go into the club. Doesn't take long for Mia to realize the club is Seb's. At the club, Mia feels uncomfortable when she sees Seb. Eventually, he sees her and freezes. Then he starts to play their piano song. During the piano song, we see a montage of all their important life moments and how they would have gone differently. He kisses her instead of bumping into her rudely. He goes to her play, and it's a hit. He goes to Paris with her, and they end up together starting a family. The song ends and Mia and her husband leave. Mia and Seb lock eyes and smile. The end. I liked it. I liked the way it ended. What'd you think?
I thought that the little flashback of what it could have been, I thought it was a little long-winded.
I thought it was emotionally nice. I thought it was nice.
I thought it was too long. Like, it was like, when are we going back to real life?
Yeah. I thought maybe at the end she's with him. They go back in time and fix all these errors. And at the end, she's with Seb. I thought maybe there was a alternate reality, a world where they end up together. And then it doesn't happen, right? I don't know. I thought that was a really pretty way to kind of go. Life is about moments, right? And what you decide to do in those moments are the ones going to lead you in the direction that you're going to go.
What I thought was strange is that he did use everything that she provided him for the nightclub. Like, she used the logo, the name, and then you would think he's like, oh, he's still like fond of the memory. Like, even if he doesn't love her anymore, he's still like, oh, that was like a good experience, a good time. And it's probably proud of her, right? But then he's walking somewhere and there's a poster up, like a movie poster of her, and he walks right past it.
He doesn't notice it.
Don't think that he would like look at the poster and smile and be like, look at where my friend got.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I noticed that he walked by it, but I don't know if he saw it.
He just walked straight past it.
Yeah, I know, but you walk by things that you don't necessarily notice. And I go...
No, you read the signs.
And you think, especially if it's like the person that you loved, right?
And it's bright yellow and humongous.
Yeah, it's like a bus stop or something like that when he's walking by it. Yeah. You think he looks back? Well, both ways. Do you think he or she looked back on their time together with fondness or sadness?
Well, he named the restaurant after
himself. Let's be real. It is his name.
But it's after what she wanted for
her
him.
idea. Yeah.
It's not what he wanted. He wanted chicken on a stick. And then she was like, no, I refuse. I want it to be Seb's. And he was like, no, that's never happening. So obviously he went with what she wanted because of some kind of happy nostalgia or whatever, or just wanting things to come true. But, like, it's not like he has any resentment for her, or else he would have done his chicken on a stick.
You know, I would say that you look back on these loves of your lives, unless you marry your first love, which, you know, isn't usually a common thing. And you look back with sadness and regret and happiness all at one time. I honestly think you look back and go, oh, if I would have done this or this or this, it would have been different. But fate didn't roll that way. So I would say that he doesn't look back on her with like annoyance or upsetness. But I think he looks back with fondness and he's happy for her. I think he's happy that she's successful and she made it big the way he wanted to. And then he made his dream too. Do you think she looks back on Seb and, I don't know, wishes they would have been stayed together or whatever?
I don't know. She has 2 kids. She seems to like them.
Yeah. I love the ending. I thought the ending kind of saved the movie. Because it was an annoying girl meets boy. They love each other. He ruins it. They break up. But then they still kind of love each other. And it's like the pain of nostalgia, the pain of that first love that they had for each other. But then the fact that they had this little song montage and you go back and explaining that all these little moments in life are what make your life what it is. What do they call it?
Canon event.
Those are canon event moments, and he decided to go the wrong way on each one of them. Could this movie still be made today?
I think so. You know, it's not really recent because it happened kind of like probably like 10 years ago or whatever.
Was it 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 years ago?
But like, it's somewhat recent, I have to say.
Yeah. I don't think... Is there anything that you had a problem with or any notes you want to talk about before we get to the Bechdel test?
Not really. I still annoyed that she cheated on Greg like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's messed up.
It wasn't necessary.
And Greg was a good guy.
Well, you don't know. He could have beat her for all we know.
And why?
You don't know nothing about Greg. If this were the other way around and it was a man and a woman, first off, all the hate would go his way. Obviously, 10 times worse than a woman. Because when men cheat, they're like the worst. And nobody even thinks about Mia cheating, even though she did.
Well, I did.
And then they would make it the woman is broken in some way. They have to make her look so terrible that it made sense for her.
Well, they tried to make Greg terrible, but they didn't even do a good job.
Greg was amazing. I like Greg.
Exactly. And then
they didn't try to make him look bad at all.
Why were the roommates like, oh, he's such a loser. Why are you dating Greg? Like, what's wrong with Greg?
I don't remember that at all. I think Greg is the top person in the movie after Seth.
And then she goes and cheats on him.
Poor Greg. I don't know. All right. Anything else before we get to the Bechdel test?
Oh, yeah.
Dale.
It's not about it being made today. But, you know, this movie was very, like, picturesque. I don't really know how to explain it. Cinematic. And it had all these, like, spinning camera angles. And I felt dizzy a lot of times during the movie. It was spinning too fast.
Gen Zers can't watch this movie. They get too dizzy.
No, I think it's just genuinely, like, what were they doing? They were making me dizzy. That's what they were doing.
Does it pass the Bechdel test?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Bechdel test. Check for female representation in movies. There are 3 criteria. Criteria number 1. Are there 2 or more named females?
Yeah. I think there's Mia. And I think that there's a few cast, like, directors. Because she's an actor. And then she has roommates. She has a mother. Seb has a sister.
Yeah. All right. Criteria number 2. Do they talk to each other?
Yeah. Mia talks to Seb's sister and Mia talks to her roommates.
All right. Criteria number 3. Do they talk to each other about anything other than a man?
Yes.
Oh, a passing grade. Tell me why.
So Mia is talking to her roommates who all have names. I just don't know them.
Right.
And she's like, I'm making a play. Like, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm writing a play. And they're all like, oh my gosh, you should write us all roles. And she's like, sorry, guys, it's a one-woman show.
Boo. But it does pass the Bechdel test. I haven't pressed that button in a long time, it feels like.
It's dusty.
It's dusty, yeah. We blow on it so that way it's less dusty. All right, so it does pass the Bechdel test. All right, anything else before we finish up the pod?
No.
Thank you for tuning in to Papi Approved Movies.
If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast or like our podcast on YouTube. If you watched all the way to the end of today's episode, comment down below the music note emoji.
All right, we put on an episode every Monday.
If you want to see extra podcast content, follow our TikTok at Papi Approved Movies.
If you want to suggest a movie for us to watch and critique,
email us at papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com.
That's papiapprovedmovies@gmail.com. No spaces, no caps.
We'll try our best to get to your suggestion.
And remember, it has to be PG-13.
I'll be back in 2 weeks to watch Catch Me If You Can.
I'm Papi.
And I'm Natalie.
See you next time.
Bye.